Welcome to Story Unfolded, everyone. We'd like to introduce you to Erin, Keisha, and Michelle, a three-part series of a mother and her two children who walked the road of addiction, not only together, but separately. Join us as we unfold these stories of restoration and reconciliation. Join us now for Michelle's Story Unfolded.
My story comes from a place where I grew up in a good home. I grew up in church. I grew up having everything, somebody needed or wanted, love. I didn't grow up with having any kind of things happen to me that were traumatic in my life. I was young when I married, 16, and had my first child and experienced 2 divorces. Single mother raising 2 kids. I felt like I had never experienced life, really. And I had a boyfriend who was killed in 2000, and that sent me really into depression. And someone introduced me to drugs, and that was everything I needed to take away all the pain and not have to think about it. If you take some kind of drugs, those feelings go away. Probably I started using with my kids when they were 19 and 22. They found out that I was using, and they had all the connections, and so that Mom was safe. Here, just let us use with you. And it was such a sad and sick relationship that we'd ended up in. Me and Keisha, we moved off to Louisiana, went to school. Life was great. Had a grandson, finished school, and then the drugs found us again. No matter where I went, there I was, still looking for that hole I was trying to fill. I don't know what I was looking for. Love, friends, where did I belong? We moved back to Pampa to take care. I took him to take care of my grandmother. She passed away a year after I started taking care of her. I had already lost my other grandmother exactly 3 weeks before that, and I didn't want to feel anything. I really turned to drugs hard after I lost both my grandmothers, and I didn't really know if I would ever stop using by this point. And my daughter was really in an abusive relationship. And I was trying to prove to myself I didn't have an addiction so that I could help her take care of Mason. Her boyfriend would not allow him to come around me anymore, and know that they had no water, no electricity, and there was nothing I could do. I did what no mother wanted to do, and I made a phone call that forever changed everyone's lives at that moment. To total devastation, because in having him taken from her, I lost everything with him too. And so December 11th of 2013, I checked myself into rehab, and the amazing God story behind the rehab that I went to and how God led me there was nothing short of God opening up a door for me, because I had this card that said Bay City on it, and I had no idea what it was. Where'd it come from? Who left it there at my house? And I called the number, and then when they answered that it was a recovery center, I just hung up on them. And about 2 weeks later, that card was still laying there, and I called it. And spoke to the woman for a long time, and she explained the program and asked me if I was ready, and I said, I need to pray about this. And as soon as I hung up the phone, God brought me to my knees. After several phone calls, I packed my bags and decided I was checking myself into Bay City Ministry. And I walked away from everything I'd ever known into a complete fear of what my future held for me. So I arrived at Faith City, and I began a journey that is nothing but God's amazing grace. You know, I realized that the recovery is not about what I can do. It's not about a step I can work. It's not about a place I can go to get recovery. Faith City was there. They gave me a place to fall apart so God could pick me up. So I could not find a job, and I was fixing to get kicked out of the program for not, complying with getting a job during the last 4 months of your program. So I finally called this last place. It was my last resort. And they hired me at Wolfland Vision Clinic, and I started the day that I was supposed to get kicked out, which was just another sign of God putting this job in front of me several times and my not even paying attention to it. And so when I graduated the program on December 19th of 2014, I had 1 year of sobriety and had no idea where my future was going. And God led me to a place where He wanted me. I work with amazing people. There's no doubt at Wolfland Vision Clinic that I am there for a purpose. It was a divinely appointed thing. First Labor Day, September 2015, that I had gotten out of recovery, I made my first trip back to Pampa. And we were doing a Celebrate Recovery event. I was in the middle of just standing out and just praising my God with some Christian bands that were there. And a phone call that I had not expected, a text message came through. I had prayed from the time I went into Faith City. I had sent letters. I had sent all kinds of things to my ex-husband, who was raising my grandchild, and with asking for forgiveness, and I received a text message from Jolinda, and she said she thought it was time for me to see Mason. And the next day, they blessed me with an opportunity to see him, and I hadn't seen him in over 2 years by this time. So anyway, we slowly began that next portion of recovery. And God has done nothing but amazing things. He has opened up everyone's hearts to forgiveness. He's taught everyone that addiction isn't just for the addict. It affects everyone. He has he's blessed my family. I spend every holiday with my ex and his wife and both of my grandchildren now, both of my children who are sober now. Aaron and Keisha, they have worked for their recovery. And I have a family who has been in addiction together. We've walked recovery together. And now we're here to share our stories together. And, I'm just grateful that God has opened up the hearts of Rex and Jolinda over these years to allow our family to be seen as a healed family. I think we are a light and a hope to so many divorced families, that it can be done. It's for the benefit of the kids. It's what God intends for families to be. I want anyone who's listening to this story, who may have an opportunity to hear this story. I am that single mother. I am that 16-year-old that was pregnant. I am that woman who's lost people in her life that I loved. I am that mother who watched her kids in addiction. I'm that mother who joined her kids in addiction. I'm the woman who was searching for something that I tried to find in men, in drugs, in bars, There is only one thing that can heal any of that, and it's Jesus. My name's Michelle, and that's my story unfolded.